It has been 10 months since Hot B released the original Palamedes. That's an amazingly fast turnaround for a sequel, even if it is just a puzzle game. And Palamedes II isn't just a graphical revamp, it's a total reworking of the systems from the original game. The original Palamedes had a 6-across well, where dice descended from the top of it and you rotated your die through the various faces and hit matching ones to try to build sets or runs. The only thing Palamedes II carries over are the fact that the game has dice, and you're still trying to build sets and runs. There are 2 different rule sets in Palamedes, which are listed as Mode 1 and Mode 2 from the main menu. In Mode 1, you're in a 4-across well, and dice push up from the bottom. There's a die at the top that tells you what you're allowed to play. You can play the number that's on it, or the numbers right above or right below it, and 1 and 6 circle to each other. Play one of the 3 numbers that you can't use, and it slowly bounces back at you. But if you play one of the numbers that are above and below, the die at the top changes to match that new number. Pressing A will throw the die that's directly below you upward to the line. That's where you're building your sets and runs. Pressing B will rotate the stack below you, taking the top die and putting it on the bottom. You can press up to make more lines appear, and press down when you have a set or run to make it vanish and destroy a certain number of lines. A pair will destroy 1 line, 3 of a kind 2, and 4 of a kind 3 lines. A run of 4 that includes 1 or 6 will only destroy 3 lines, while a run of 4 that doesn't include them destroys 4. That would be 2, 3, 4, 5. Runs of 3 destroy 2 lines. You can always clear 1 line from the stack if you filled up the line at the top, or the total is a multiple of 7, but it's at the cost of your effectiveness. There are 2 different ways you can play Mode 1. The first is just solo, an endless mode where you just keep trying to clear lines until eventually you can't. I found this mode to be very easy. This was the first time I really played it, so I started at the default level 0, and I finally topped out at level 59. The maximum level that you could start at is level 40, so there really isn't much of a challenge here. The other way is a match against another player, human or AI. If you choose quest mode, you have a whole ladder of opponents that you have to climb through, something that will become rather popular with puzzle games through the 90s, and I haven't been able to find an earlier puzzle game than this which uses it. Puyo Puyo is the series that really popularizes the concept, but the first game won't be out for several months, and that one doesn't have a series of opponents anyways. Earlier puzzle games have had tournaments, including the original Palamedes, but I can't find any previous puzzle game quite like this, where you take on a consistent ladder of escalating opponents in order to beat it. So this might be the progenitor of that. There are 8 enemies to defeat in quest mode as you climb the constellations, and the key thing about the matches is that there's only 1 die at the top of the screen that controls what players can use. Both you and your opponent are governed by it, and both of you can change it. And that means you're often going to run into situations where you set yourself up a combo, only to find that as you move the second die of it, the control die at the top has been changed and now you can't do anything. When you eliminate 2 or more rows, then the opponent's stack gets pushed up that many rows as well. Unless they're in the process of eliminating rows, in which case they don't move. Considering how short the wells are, matches in Palamedes II have a tendency to turn at a moment. Throw 4 lines over and lock them out of playing what they were doing, and it's very likely that your opponent can't survive. The second mode in Palamedes II is strictly a versus mode. Both players start with a well full of dice, and they can't be rotated. Your goal is to be the first person to eliminate all of your dice. If both players get stuck without a move, after a few seconds the die will rotate to a new face on its own. I found this mode to be a lot less engaging than Mode 1. Having another player be able to change what you're allowed to play while you're in the process of playing winds up not being a whole lot of fun, and Mode 2 is built on that even more than Mode 1 is. In Japan, Palamedes II seems to be fondly regarded, or at least I found quite a few people going, "Oh, that's a really good game." My take is, well, it's better than the original Palamedes, but I'm still not really fond of it. Playing alone is too easy, and playing against another person is too chaotic. This isn't a bad puzzle game, but it's not one that I'd really want to revisit anytime soon.